Hey, what's up? Look, it's me, Color Magician, with more Battlefront content, because I love this game so fucking much. The general gist is, I can't be fucked to make this video in any sort of high-quality way, so it's gonna be fairly rambled and disorganized and very, very lazy, because it doesn't really deserve any more than that. The gist of it is that the people in charge of, I don't even remember what the fuck it's called, something like Battlefront Competitive League, I think that's it, the committee bullshit, anyway, is being run by a bunch of fucking retards who have no idea how the game works. And, well, the original, analogy that came to my mind was the, like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. A more accurate one would be biting the hand that feeds you. So after having to explain to these people how core concepts of the game works, after having to baby them through this because they have no clue how most of the game works, for them to then turn around and just bitch and whine about me all the time, they can all go fuck themselves. So, as always, the only content that's going to be made public out of my 1,000 unlisted videos is going to be something driven by spite. Because it's the only thing that really deserves being uploaded, and because, hey, I know none of you subscribe because you enjoy my wacky-nacky sense of humor. You watch this shit because you like petty drama, so here's some petty drama for you. I'm gonna explain why the people in charge of this shit are fucking retarded. Let's go. So to give a brief summary of events, after having to walk them through how mods for this game work and how some of the core mechanics of this game works, they're still hell-bent on the idea of making me handcam. I don't really know why, apart from maybe they just want to see my fat dick get blapped across that controller over and over, considering that I did tell them the only way I'd be setting up a camera is if they wanted to watch me naked, and they seem pretty damn enthusiastic about that. But from what I can tell, it's a paranoia of them that I'll be using either a mouse and keyboard, because, I don't know, maybe they think my shitty aim is mouse and keyboard worthy, or they're paranoid about Titan 2 because they don't understand how it works and what it does. So, yes, I will be using Titan 2. Everyone who has any sort of adapter will be using it. They'll just lie about it. But yes, I will be using it. And I'll be using it because I actually explain how it works, and I know what is fair and is unfair. I know what is a fair advantage and what is an unfair advantage, because believe it or not, there can be fair advantages contrasted to unfair advantages. So the reason why I keep calling them fucking retarded, the reason why I say they have no idea how it works, is because they ban it from being used at all, which is why they want to try and make me handcam, as is my understanding anyway. The problem with that is what I use the Titan 2 for, and what a fair few people use it for, is just to bring them up to par with what can already be done with controllers. But again, none of the people on their committee know this or understand how it works, because they're all fucking retarded. So, what I use it for is I use it to take away my dead zone and increase the speed of the right analog stick. I'll show you what that looks like now. So, this right here, for starters, dub-de-doo, 100 sensitivity because I always am. It stems from when many more people started using mouse and keyboard, and I sat there and said, well, I suck with mouse and keyboard, so how can I bring myself as close to that as possible while still using a controller? And what I did is I looked to how I played on PC, which is I used a program, Rewazd, I don't know how you pronounce it, but I used that program to modify how my right stick's input was read. I used it to increase my sensitivity and decrease it when it got to the midpoint. What that meant is that I was able to aim with a certain degree of precision that I do not have otherwise. the easiest way I can demonstrate this is to show you that this is what it looks like when I move my right stick in tiny circles. Tiny twitchy movement. And this is what it looks like when I do the exact same thing without the Titan 2. There's no movement at all. None. Because I use a Razor Raiju Ultimate. And the Razor Raiju Ultimate, like DualShock 4's, has an inbuilt dead zone into the analog sticks. If you are unfamiliar with what a dead zone is or how it works, the easiest explanation is that a certain percentage of your analog stick's movement is not red. It is reduced to 0. This is to reduce stick drift and to make sure that no unwanted movements are made when the stick is supposed to be at rest. In Battlefront, this is somewhere between 10 and 20% of the stick's movement. What this means is that you will be able to react to things more slowly if you have this dead zone, and you will be able to react to things faster if you do not have a dead zone. Demonstrate it again. So you can see how twitchy this movement is. This is barely moving the analog stick. So here's an enemy. Say my stick is positioned right here. Alright, and I can make these tiny movements all around where the enemy is. Alright? If I had a dead zone, I would be incapable of making these adjustments. That's nothing to do with a player's skill. That is hardware. That is a hardware limit. If you have a dead zone, you cannot make these adjustments. It's impossible. The reason it's impossible is because if you try and make these tiny adjustments with a dead zone, your movement will not be red until a certain point, and it will jerk you further than you want it to move you, or less far than you want it to move you. You have less precision and less control with a dead zone and with slower movements. Now, what you will also probably not know is that in this game, your aim assist is increased on lower sensitivities. Your effective aim assist is increased on lower sensitivities. I play on 100% sensitivity. I use the Titan 2 to increase that sensitivity even more, which means my aim assist is even weaker. Effective aim assist anyway. And so, these tiny movements are only as good as I make them. Alright? The aim assist helps to a certain degree, but not as much as it would help someone, say, on 15 sensitivity. Their movements are more or less guided entirely by the aim assist. This gives no advantage other than what the individual player wants it to give them and how they have learned to use it. I have learned to play this way because it increases my maximum efficiency. Alright? And the easiest way to visualize this is that a person playing on 15 sensitivity has greater aim assist, yes, but if you fly directly over them, they cannot move their crosshair fast enough to look at you. Whereas someone on 100% sensitivity can do this. Playing on this higher sensitivity allows me to have certain advantages over other people because I can look at them faster than they can look at me, and I can make adjustments that they cannot make. While it is up to me to make those movements, it gives me more freedom of movement and greater precision if I choose to use it. The reason I explain this, the reason I explain that I have a 100% tactical advantage over someone with a DualShock 4 using my Titan 2 is because almost everyone has this advantage with their controller. The people in charge of the Battlefront competitive league don't understand this. Hence, the biting the hand that feeds you. because the only way they would understand these things is to have someone like me baby them through it. But these people are also egotistical that they can't look past their own lack of knowledge and imagine the idea that there's something they don't know. In their mind, they've already worked all this out. When I refer to controllers being able to do this, what I am referring to is the fact that with SCUF controllers, with Xbox Elite controllers, with Astro controllers, with pretty much any brand of custom controller you can think of, this is a setting you can just have built in. I do not have this because I use the Razer Raiju Ultimate, the licensed Sony Esports Pro controller. I'll now edit in some clips that show you this customization available on these controllers.
The next screen allows you to customize your thumbstick's dead zones. All controllers contain dead zones, which is the distance required before your thumbstick movement registers in-game. Thumbstick modules can also become worn over time, which can be seen in-game as drift. The app allows you to tailor the dead zones to your playstyle, and if your controller has become worn through time, it allows you to reduce any drift your controller might encounter by increasing the dead zone. Please note that a thumbstick recalibration is required if you make any change to your dead zone settings.
For the trigger, and then we go to the sticks. I did this. I haven't tested the sensitivity out yet, but I just moved the 80% and the 100% higher for the left stick and also for the right stick. But you can see this actual animation shows you in real time the force that you need to reach that level of. So for me, as you can see right here, this is the amount of force I'm putting, but because I changed it over here to 80%, then a higher above the actual, I guess this will be the default line. This is how much pressure I'm using to get to 100%. So I guess that will help in your reaction time. When you're running or moving, doesn't matter what side, you don't have to go all the way to the top to be 100%. Just go this far and you'll be 100% already. Same thing applies for the right one. Like I said, I haven't tested it out yet, so I don't know how well this will work once it's on gameplay, or if it actually makes a difference. And that's the thing too that I was concerned about, that the software is nice and everything, but at the same time you can do all the adjustments here, but then you have to connect it to your PS4 or PC, and then you can't adjust these settings while you're playing. So the sensitivity is not adjustable while you're actually playing, as far as I know.
Going back to the primary assignment for this curve, we'll just talk about the options here. So we've got the 4 different curves. We've got the default one here. We've got delayed. Now you can adjust, once you activate one of these profiles here other than default, you'll see you've now got a curve adjustment, so we can move it to the left to decrease the effect, or we can move it all the way to the right to increase the effect. So if I now start to move the right thumbstick, you will see that the white is where I'm actually moving the thumbstick, and the blue representation is now lagging behind because it's been delayed, as the profile name suggests. So on screen, although in real life the white mirrors the movement, if I was in an FPS game and aiming, my on-screen movements would be delayed. They would be lagging behind where I'm actually moving the thumbstick. Then as I get to the end, it actually catches up on screen. So that's delayed. Then aggressive is just edging ahead of my actual stick movements. You can see it's more responsive, it's more aggressive. It's pretty much the opposite of delayed. Then with instant, you can see here as I move it, it's almost instantly getting ahead very quickly. So it's a bit different from aggressive. And you can just experiment with these and see, but there you can see, you can actually look at the graph on the bottom left of the screen here, and you can see that very early in the stick movement it's going to edge ahead, and then we sort of level out towards the end of the controller's physical movement. Then the next one is smooth, so we pretty much go along as you'd expect, similar to the real thumbstick movement. Then the actual thumbstick would just get ahead. As you can see in the graph, the line is leveled out, so it slows up a little bit and then it rapidly catches up at the end of the stick movement. And you can adjust how big an effect each of these has, or how small an effect, as I said, by moving the slider there.
I have no idea how well I edited that in, because like I said, this is going to be slapdash lazy and rushed because it deserves nothing more. This is 100% just a video to go, haha, you know fucking nothing. There's no deeper meaning to this. So, now that you've seen that these controllers come with it built in, and that I've explained to you the advantages this gives, well, this raises a few fucking questions. Because these controllers are all allowed by their rules, but a Titan 2 would not be. What this means is that players with custom controllers, players with SCUF controllers, players with Xbox One Elite controllers, players with Astro controllers, players with fucking Battle Beef or whatever knockoff janky shit you can imagine, have these advantages. It means that these players can reduce their dead zones and increase their stick accuracy. Now, to give you an idea as to how much of an advantage that gives, something you can visualize fully, you can adjust it so that you just don't miss anymore. When I was on PC, that is what I did. I used that program to adjust my right stick until I didn't miss. I sat in a private match, about 10 minutes, and I worked it out to where if someone was jumping through the air, I just flick on them and they fall out and die. If I am in the air, I can flick on them and they die. If we're rolling together, I can keep it tracked on them and they die. You can just bring that over to console. You can bring that level of accuracy over to console. Except you have aim assist here as well, to make it even better. Now with my Titan 2, I don't have that level of customization and accuracy. I don't have it because I don't understand how it works. The way it's all done is something too complex for me to know because there is no guide for it, and I'd have to sit down and work it out myself, which despite what people think, I really can't be bothered doing. With these controllers, it's nowhere near as complicated as it is with the Titan 2. The Titan 2, you have to very literally code it in by hand. With these controllers, you just, as you saw, open that little program and you drag the little slidey bar until it's perfect for you. You just drag it along. And now you don't miss anymore. So like I said, this raises a few questions. Because if this is not allowed, this thing that is nowhere close to as precise as what you can just have built into your controller, if this is not allowed but the controller is, well, now you might be thinking, oh, well, geez, mister, I guess we gotta go and ban the controller too, because that gives an advantage that just doesn't quite sit right in my bones. Well, you see, now what you're going back to is the idea of DualShock only, which anyone who's on that committee knows most of its members want. Who's on it? Fucktards like Cricken, who lost his sense of humor after he got rejected by Egg and Base, beat up by AC. Fucktards like 20 Keys, who hate women for some reason, and yet sit there acting like they're the most proud man on the planet. Yeah, bitch if the shittest player kills them and say that player must be cheating. People like Hobo, the embodiment of who's more foolish, the fool or the fool who's led by the fools, when, at the end of the day, they're all fucking retarded. Don't get me wrong. Everyone's a fool. But that means everyone's a fool. You're no more wise for admitting you are. All these people, in their minds, believe that anyone who is killing them is cheating, and so what they want is for everyone to be using the exact same thing as they are, sitting on the same couch as them, using the same 2010 TV as them. That's what they want ideally. The only reason that's not being implemented, well, it's a 50-50 of things. It's a combination of my bitching getting people rallied up enough to disagree with it, because everyone's so passive and afraid of not making friends that they won't say anything till someone else does. And a combination of them realizing that if they were to go down this route, then they lose 90% of their players, because almost no one actually just uses a DualShock 4 anymore. Everyone has some sort of custom controller, whether it be a Scuff, whether it be a Battle Beaver, whether it be an Astro, an Xbox One controller, or a Razer IQ Ultimate. So they realize they'd lose the majority of their players. Still what they want. Then we get into the fact, well, how are you going to moderate that? How are you going to ensure that everyone's using a DualShock 4? Well, now we get back to the whole idea of people having to handcam 24/7, which is also what they want, and the only reason they were dissuaded from it is, again, thanks to my bitching. You're welcome, every single player in the community. So passive and afraid to say anything. You're welcome that I bitched enough to get rid of that for you. Managed to get them to actually have a vote on that shit instead of just going, oh, well, we'll just do it like this for now, because we don't care about making you sit there with a camera on yourself. We don't care about that, because we're so insecure and worried about other people cheating. So, then we've also got the problem of, well, what about the other advantages that are brought that do not involve an adapter, and how to limit those? Because there are plenty of other advantages that are possible without an adapter that they are just too fucking stupid to know about, which I will go into thusly. Alrighty, so as simple as possible. Here's a DH17 without any sort of script on. This is just your base DH17. Tons and tons of nasty spread. We all know what it's like, even though the gun's glitched and can one-shot people randomly. We all know it's inaccurate as fuck. Alright. Here's a script for the DH17 with a Titan 2. That's a fair bit slower, not too much slower. Much less spread. Pretty damn tasty. Well, now you might be thinking, if you're one of the fucktards on the committee, oh hell, that proves it. All we have to do is ban the Titan 2. Well, here's what you can do with the DH17 without a Titan 2. I know right now, all those fantastic people in charge of running things, they're all quaking in their booties. Half of them are terrified that that exists. The other half are sitting there. Oh, well, no, he just did that with the Titan 2. He's trying to trick me. And so for clarity, well, anyone who wants to learn how to do that shit, you just send me a message and I'll be more than glad to show you. Because I don't give a shit about people's fun at this point. My fun gets taken away, well, so can everyone else's, but hey ho, everyone's going to have more fun. Because everyone's going to be able to do shit like that. Like I said, just message me, I'll show you exactly how. And as I said, completely possible without any sort of mod at all. Possible with every automatic weapon. You can remove the spread of every single automatic weapon in the game without mods. They have no idea about that because they're all fucking retarded. But perfectly possible, always has been, always will be. What does this mean? Well, now, in combination with, it's going to have to be DualShock 4 only. And you're going to have to set up a video feed of that live. Well, now what are we gonna do? Because we can't use automatic weapons anymore, because we can't be sure whether or not people are removing the spread from them and making them unfair. We're gonna have to make this shit semi-auto only. Guess what? You can still do shit with semi-auto weapons too. Alright, so here we got the DL-44, the Han Solo gun, blah 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 blah. Here's what it looks like if you fire that shit as fast as possible. Pretty unpredictable spread. Bullets will go absolutely anywhere and everywhere, especially at range. That makes it fucking terrible. But what's that? Now they're all grouped more closely together and it's completely vertical spread. Look at that shit. You can just fucking reduce the spread on semi-autos. Like, at range, that makes that shit way better. You just fucking boop on people. Boop, boop, boop. Boop. Hey, die. Oh, the fuck. Come here. Yeah. That's how you get 'em. Well, look at that shit. You can't even stop the prevalence of mods with semi-auto weapons. And this is the fucking, like, tip of the iceberg with them. So here we got the DT-12, what is to a lot of people just a pre-nerf DL-44, based on its fire rate and ability to at least 3-shot at pretty much any range. Here's the weapon without mods. Look at that shit. That's not bad at all, is it? Great gun, except... And I know half of you fuckers out there sat there scratching your heads going, oh, what's the difference? You can fire this weapon faster with mods than you can without mods. The exact same as an EE3, EE4, etc. You can just straight up fire this shit faster with mods. Well, what does this mean? This means that say you get into a trade with some unfortunate soul tasked with using this gun, well, he's just put you down faster than you can physically put him down. You can't do anything. Even a second difference is enough to differentiate a kill and dying. You go up against someone using this, well, you're just gonna die if you can't fire it as fast as them. And I don't have any specific settings for any of these semi-auto guns. I don't have anything. Right now I'm just using like the setting I use for my EE4. If someone were to actually sit down and work this shit out properly, yeah, they could fucking master these semi-auto guns. Reduce the spread, increase the speed, etc, etc. Well, what does this mean? This means that even taking away automatic weapons will do nothing against players who really want that advantage. The problem is with the people on this committee is that they are determined to try and make things as balanced as possible, focusing on external hardware and the player's end. This is the wrong way to do it. You have to try and balance things game side. That is the only way to try and create a level playing field, which I will now try and show you. Okay, so what we have here is a DLT-19, what is in my opinion one of the most balanced weapons in the game. Quite fitting that the DLT-19X is what I would consider the most fair and balanced weapon in this game. Why do I single out the DLT-19? Well, it's because of this. This is the DLT-19 without any sort of setting. This is just how it will fire for everyone no matter what. Okay, and this is DLT-19 with a setting on to help reduce the spread. Now, what you should notice is that this reduction in spread only applies for about the first, let's put a number on that, 20 meters. I know the Americans right now are losing their shit trying to find out what a meter is, but they'll catch up in the end. What this means is that no matter what, this weapon does have spread at range. You can see it, the bullets go fucking everywhere at range. This is not a problem with this setting. There is no way to take away the spread of this gun. There's just none. Even using the special technique to remove the spread off of automatic weapons like I showed you with the DH-17, you still cannot remove the spread off of the DLT-19. You can't do it. Not like the RT-97C, you just cannot fully remove the spread of a DLT-19. This is an example of how you balance things game side. This is a weapon that cannot have its spread taken away with external adapters or in-game glitches or exploits. There is no way to do it. This is a balanced weapon. This is the sort of thing that should be promoted. Is promoting the usage of fair and balanced weapons across the board. But they don't want to do that because they don't understand that that's a thing. People in charge of this event have no comprehension of this. They just don't. But this is the direction that gameplay would need to go in. I've already shown you that the Titan II, a Cronus, none of these things will offer an advantage so long as you balance things game side. You can already remove the spread and recoil of every gun in the game without an external adapter. So it offers no advantage in that sense. If you're good at the game, you can do things like roll around fluidly without any sort of external adapter. If you can't, I'll even teach you how to do it personally. I'll take you across on your little baby steps journey. I will hold your hand and guide you through that difficult experience. Because the only thing I've ever cared about is making sure people have as few excuses as possible as to why they suck. So I will happily teach you how to move around at a decent level. We've shown that being able to reduce your dead zone and adjust your sensitivity, that offers no advantage. Not with a Titan II or Cronus anyway, because you can already use controllers to do that for you. And here's a little sneaky tip. There are actually even some controllers out there that will rapid fire for you. Shocking, I know. But you can go and get a controller that looks just like a DualShock 4. And it has all these things built into it. Fuck me. How intriguing this is. How mind-blowing a revelation. It's not like this is something that's common knowledge. Well, not to the people in charge of this event. Not to them it isn't. But yeah, you can just go and get a little controller that looks exactly the same as a DualShock 4. You can set up your hand cam. You can stick the hand cam in the controller if you're feeling ballsy enough. And there's no way anyone in charge of it would have any clue what was going on, because they don't know how any of this hardware works. They have to come to me and have me explain it to them, but then sit there and give me the middle finger afterwards. Anywho, I completely lost my train of thought. I think I was talking about how certain things are banned according to their rule set based on the very limited knowledge they have of how the game works. The general summary of that is a message to everyone still playing this, because I was asked. Many people just leapt at the opportunity and put themselves forward for it. You should be well aware that you're participating in something run by people who have no idea what they're doing. People who have to get advice from me, and yes, only me. They have to get advice on which players to moderate and spectate, who's using what, how any of this works, in-game bugs and exploits. Hell, if it wasn't for the kindness even of Nysora to explain to some of them how the hell the double damage grenade shit works, I doubt any of them would even have any comprehension of that and would have people running around with double dioxys and shit. For clarity as well, I'm 100% just going to show you how to do that in case you don't know, because fuck everyone involved in this at this point. I can't actually be fucked going back to the menus to show you, so I'll explain it. All you have to do is, in one hand, you have to have your, I'll assume, a jump pack. On one side, for me right now, it's the L1 side. On your R1 side, you have a grenade of your choosing. Then in your other hand, you reverse the order. So you'd put the grenade in the L1 slot, you'd put your jetpack in the R1 slot. Congratulations, you now deal double damage with whatever the fuck throwable you want. Here's the kicker. If your partner has their hand reversed for you, well, now you can just click on your partner's hand. You can just use their hand to do it as well. Now you got double damage ion grenade, double damage deoxys grenade, double damage thermal detonator, which effectively just gives it double the range, etc, etc. Hell, you even get double damage, not double damage even, but double proc flash. And that is exciting to use. Then we've got all this shit like having infinite guns like barrage and scattergun, which has been floating around for a very long time, and most people have a way of doing it. Their method is shit, takes ages and doesn't work. Proper way to do it will take you about 20 to 30 seconds. And yes, does involve the app. Hell, you can use the app to have the double damage grenades without the people in the committee realizing how the hell it happened. So we're going to have a bunch of people running around with double damage ion, double damage deoxys, double damage thermal detonators, and the people in the committee will sit back, watch their recorded gameplay, and fucking smack their heads in confusion as to how it's happening. You can use the app to refresh your cards, your charge cards, that is. So thank golly goodness no one knew about that during the Epoch tournament, because hell, you can just give yourself 99 charge cards right off the bat. Never run out of those things. 99 shields in a game of Drop Zone, that sounds fun. And it all comes back to the fact that you have to balance this shit game side. But no one is going to do it. And so here's the outcome that's going to happen. People in charge of this are going to watch it, and they're going to learn that all these controllers give them this ridiculous advantage compared to them. Don't get me wrong, this is not an unfair advantage, it is a fair advantage. They can't comprehend the difference. So they're going to watch this, and yeah, they're going to watch all the way through, because for some reason people do watch all these videos all the way through, even though most of the time it's just a half-naked anime girl dancing. They're going to watch it, And they're going to learn, hey, all these controllers give this advantage. We can't let these controllers run around, because then we're at a disadvantage because we're all broke bastards who can't afford to go and buy one for ourselves. We have to ban everything except DualShock 4. Then the only way to enforce that DualShock 4 is to make everyone hand cam. Then the only way to stop people abusing automatic weapons is to make them all use certain weapons. Oh no, we can't use semi-auto weapons because you can reduce the spread recoil of those and increase the speed of some of them. So now we're going back to you're just going to have to use a DLT-19X with a DualShock 4 and a hand cam. Good frickety fracking luck getting people to participate in that. Or we can go the other direction and they realize that they're being fucking retarded. They're not going to realize this, but hey, let's imagine. They realize that they're being fucking retarded. They realize that things have to be balanced game side. And people just get to play for fun like it's supposed to be. This was supposed to be for fun. However, when you put people in charge who are paranoid, who are driven by their own egos, who are determined to be the best, what this leads to is, instead of it being for fun, it being built in a way that makes them feel special. So they're not going to listen to any of these things. They're not going to understand any of them. They're just going to continue trying to force everyone else to be them. I'll be pretty impressed if anyone actually has the balls to tell them, hey, your rules are fucking retarded. But no one will. Because I was the only person who would. They just took away my ability to communicate in that Discord at all, so that no one would tell them, hey, you're being fucking retarded, you should do this instead. So at this point, I doubt anyone will. Under fear of being disqualified and banned, because yeah, they do talk about that sort of shit, believe me. They will ban you. They don't like you, they'll just get rid of you. Because remember, it's built around them feeling special. So yeah, good luck to everyone who continues with it. Because you're just feeding into their fantasy. And soon enough they'll tell you, you have to throw away your controller, use theirs at their house. Fuck it, set up a hand cam at their house anyway, just so they can watch it back later and see if there are any fishy happenings. You gotta use a 19X as well, because now they're terrified of every weapon in the game. I'll be very impressed if this goes on for more than one season. Because these people will let their paranoia eat away at them. Especially without me there to consult and to tell them how to manage these things. Because they have no idea. So very, very good luck to all of you. If there's anything I forgot, I'll write it in the description or some shit. I don't know. I don't think there is. And I might not be bothered to anyway. But anyway, let's just go over a quick recap. You can take away the spread from every single gun in the game without any sort of mod. All these custom controllers come with settings that allow you to have an advantage over your opponent. Adapters like Cronus and Titan 2, with the in-game balancing of removing burst weapons, offer very literally zero advantage compared to any of these custom controllers, but still banned because the people in charge have no idea how the hell any of this works. You can use the double grenade glitch even without them understanding how it happened, and there's absolutely no way that they can prove you did, especially if you do it with a thermal detonator. Hell, there are things you can do like force instant partner spawns if you know how to abuse the game mechanics. But hey, I'm too kind to do that sort of thing and reveal these special little secrets. I can't think there's anything else. Well, I'll let all you guys argue over this now for a good few days. Like you do with everything. Peace.